Good morning, my friends. Look at me being on time. Happy Friday. This is weird. Good morning. Hey, Christine. Hi, Yoga Mom. We miss your face, Christine. Hi, Caress. Good morning. Good morning. I feel like my Instagram is not quite working right, which is annoying, but we'll see. Hi, Anna. Good morning. I don't know if you can believe it, but we had session 6 on Wednesday. So somehow we're halfway through. Oh, okay. So Instagram isn't working, you're saying? Because I see like 2 people on Instagram, which doesn't seem quite right. It's not buffering or anything. I wonder if I should. It's working now. It's just strange. Good morning, Melissa. Okay. Hmm. All right. Well, how is everybody doing? How are you feeling in this energy? I'm very tired this morning, but I couldn't go to sleep until like 1, which is very unusual for me. A lot of thoughts in my head right now. I'm feeling weird about this eclipse, and I know everybody's feeling weird about it, but I'm feeling weird in like a different way than I normally do. So, I don't know. I don't know. Hi, hello, Cindy. Christine says, not a ton of sleep this week. Wired last night too. Okay. Anna's been sick all week. Ugh, I'm sorry, girl. Melissa's been tired and slept until 9. Wow. Oh, you've been up since 3. Good rising. Weird good or weird bad? I don't know. I guess what I would say is this at this point. Um, for since like what, 2019 through that 2020, I've been really tapped into eclipse season and just kind of chatting with you about the energy and like navigating through the different portals that eclipse season brings, right? So I would say that I'm familiar with what eclipse energy feels like. This doesn't feel like eclipse energy. And I think that's been a little bit of my dissonance with everything because I haven't, you probably noticed, I haven't, made a TikTok about this energy. I haven't thrown my 2 cents into the pot, so to speak. And it's because I can't quite understand what's happening with this energy. But last night I was like really in a space of feeling it. And I've come to the conclusion today, at least, that it's because it doesn't feel like an eclipse energy to me. It feels like something else. And I don't know what that is exactly, but it doesn't feel quite organic. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't feel natural. It feels very orchestrated. And it almost feels like, like when you're being told something is something and like you really want to believe it. So you kind of like do, right? Like, so this is the eclipse. So we're feeling wonky because of eclipse energy and Mercury retrograde and like all of these things. But I just have this feeling like that's not right. Like it's not quite right. So I'm feeling into that, and we'll pull some cards about it, obviously. But there's just something off about it that is not like other eclipse energies that I felt before. He's just saying there's also 7 conjunctions going on right now in Aries and Pisces. It's very weird. Yeah. I mean, everything is very weird. Um, but just I don't know. I don't think no, I'm not planning to watch it, but that's the other thing too. It's like we do this every time there's a solar eclipse, or like everyone's like, "Oh, get the glasses and do this and that and the other." And I don't know. It just feels like a really big distraction. Um, it's almost like how you manage kids, right? It's like how you manage kids, like where you're like, I don't need to tell you like the adult version of what's going on because all you're going to do is create a bunch of issues for me to deal with. And so we're just going to go ahead and give you this information that you can work with, and like you'll be fine. It feels like that to me. And I did hear they're turning on CERN, and a lot of the statements made by the people over at CERN are weird. They're just strange fucking statements. And um doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense with the narrative we've been given. Let me put it that way. It would make sense with a different narrative, you know? But this current one is very strange. Like, we're having spokespeople for CERN saying, don't be alarmed if you see strange things in the sky. Like pardon me all the way, sir. Like, what exactly do you mean by that? And then you have people saying, like, well, we're going to turn on CERN and something might come through, or we might send something. Again, what? Right? Like, that's not, it's incohesive information. And it just feels off to me. And like I said, I don't have a feeling that it's going to go in a direction we don't necessarily want. I just think we're not being told what's actually going on. Like, we may be living in a world that is a lot fucking weirder than we thought. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm feeling. But I will continue to sit with this obviously over the weekend because like I said, you know, I don't know. Anything that puts you in a state of fear is not going to like that's never going to help you, right? Like, being in a state of fear is never a place where you are going to be able to make any good decisions. So there's that. But also timelines, right? How many of you can recognize that since we've been in this year, um you've been in a different timeline, right? Like, how many of you can feel that like you are not in the same timeline that you were before? And did you make that happen? I think so. I think you did make that happen in a lot of ways, but I think it also happened collectively, maybe more than once, right? We've done lots of timeline shifting, obviously, but this feels different. It just feels different. It feels like it's more than just like you personally making a choice that moves you into a different version of your experience. It feels like there's also like the collective has been shifted into different timelines too. So we're catching up with that energy right now, right? And I was saying to somebody this week, like, I've been through some really wild energy the past few years, like with my whole life being very, very stressful and uncertain and just like high levels of anxiety, right? I preferred that to this energy that we're in now because for me anyway, this feels like a very non-starter energy. It feels like I can't connect to who I've been, and I don't know who I am in it. Like, I'm fine, but, like, it's a very, like, existential weirdness and suspension that I'm in right now, and I prefer, like, the chaos and nonsense of my previous iteration to this weird feeling that I'm having. And no, I don't think it's because of the retrograde, because quite frankly, if you think about like Mercury retrograde and like any retrograde and you dig into that a little bit, right? That's a perception. That's a perception too, right? Like it doesn't actually go backwards. We just perceive it to be moving backwards. Like basically everything is not provable anymore. And we're just like the fabric of reality is changing. And I think the biggest question is what do we want to weave the fabric of reality into at this time as we, struggle to let go of the previous reality that we've been in. And I think maybe that's the larger picture with it that feels so strange is like basically nothing makes sense anymore, right? Even the most basic of things. Most basic of things. It's like, oh, like you can just say like, oh, you know, this is where I went on vacation. It's like, did I? Did I go to Florida? Like it everything just seems very strange. 1 plus 1 is 2. Is it? Or is that just a narrative, right? Like it's just very strange right now and it's not my favorite. So I don't necessarily have any tips for you on that, but we'll just get into these cards and see what they have to say, right? I agree with you, Beth. After whatever is happening on Monday, it does, I think, too, we're shifting into whatever that new timeline is. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's strange. It's just strange. Strange. So, in the spirit of such, let's go ahead and get into coffee magic. I'm going to give you three things. They're going to be herbs. We have spearmint, mugwort, and lavender. Okay. Spearmint, mugwort, and lavender. Let me know which one feels most aligned for you. Were you surprised by how quickly I rattled that off? It was really random of me. But spearmint, mugwort, or lavender, those are the three we're choosing, and I'm shuffling. Spearmint, mugwort, and lavender. Okay, sorry. Go ahead and let me know which one that you're ready. Oh my god, that just like blew my mind just now. Sorry. I have your spearmint here. Um, are you, are you ready? So again, spearmint, mugwort, and lavender. This is your spearmint. It's just that I pulled this exact spread yesterday for somebody, and I just was like, how is that possible? Okay. So anyway, spearmint, mugwort, and lavender. This is your spearmint. You have the goblin, partnership, and the eagle. Okay. So goblin, partnership, and the eagle. Now, partnership is interesting in this context because it's like can it actually be like a business partnership, an alliance with another person in some way, shape, or form? Of course. But in a broader aspect, it's a partnership with the energy. And right now, you're in a weird space of like partnering with this new energy, right? And keeping faith and trusting and, staying in a high vibration and like all the things that we're trying to do and like just like stay in the timeline you want, fake it till you make it, whatever the things are you do to like keep yourself from falling into old patterns and old ways of thinking, like you've been in that space of trying to do it, right? But this energy just keeps coming back around, right? Just really derailing you and giving you a lot of weird thoughts, making you feel like perhaps you're making a mistake, that you are delusional, right? And not in a fun delulu way, but like straight up a delusional. Like you've just made lots of mistakes and you're about to like the curtain's about to be pulled down, show's over, and you're gonna be left there just like exposed for like a fraud, for lack of a better term. Whose is this for? It's very specific. Um, this energy is not great for you, obviously, because what it's doing is making you lack confidence in what you have actually put the literal work to become and to step into. Okay. So you've already stepped into this timeline, right? You've already decided this is what I want to do. I'm going for it. But this is trying to literally derail you, to just shift you back into a safer space. And that safer space is fear based, has a lot of lack mentality. And it's, what's that word? When you like attack yourself, it's not self effacing. Oh my goodness. I can't think of the word, but basically when like you just kind of knock yourself down, right? You're just like going after yourself. So what is it that is triggering that goblin in you to like kind of like self-sabotage? Thank you. Why is this happening? Like, right? Like why are you doing that? Typically, there's a few things that could be happening here. You may have gotten triggered by a family member, literally, like your mother or somebody over this holiday season. If you saw them, the reason that that person may have triggered you is because they've always had the ability to like connect with that tender part of you, right? And there's a part of you that has maybe wanted to be seen by this group of people or this person or whatever. So even though you know better, you in a weak moment, you might be inclined to believe whatever bullshit they say, right? It's always easier to believe the worst of ourselves than the best. Anyway, this is getting a little deep with specifics, but in a nutshell, my spearmint friends, stay here as much as you can and just remind yourself you don't have a lot of um, time spent in this space yet. You don't have a lot of foundational elements in this space yet. So, of course, this is trying to jump in here and derail you because it doesn't feel safe, right? And how do we make our goblin feel safe? We have to stay confident and speak with confidence that it's going to be okay so that the goblin can relax, that it can move on to something else and expand its territory. So you can't get rid of the goblin. You basically have to make friends with it and say, here's, you can sit right here, where you won't disturb us anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's your spearmint. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I was all over the place with that one, but woo, that threw me for a loop a little bit. All right. So that was spearmint. We've got mugwort and lavender next. So if you're just joining, maybe those are one of those are the ones that will make sense for you. As a reminder, if you'd like to send me a donation for Coffee and Magic, you can do that by following the link in my profile on Instagram or on TikTok. All right. Tell me when you're ready for mugwort. I'm really selling them today, huh? Okay. You're all so ready. You're like, woo, this is so fun this morning. All right. Let's see here. So this is your mugwort. You have restriction, protection, and fear. Like, oof, right? Oof. Okay. This is I mean, I'm feeling for you, you know what I mean? Feeling for all of us who are in this vibe because ugh, oh, like no thanks. We don't like it. Um, let's talk about it though and see what we can do to feel into this for our life. So, fear, protection, and restriction. This has you in a chokehold right now, and the chokehold is circular, and you've been looping for a minute, right? Think about the cycles that you've been having over the past 3 months and what that situation is like, what or situations are. What are the things that you keep looping through, right? The fear based energy with this is like basically like it's keeping it in a momentum and like you're just making left turns, right? And it's like, oh, okay, I'm getting ready to make a move, make a left turn, make a left turn, make a left turn. And you're not realizing that if you just continue making left turns, you're obviously going to wind up back where you started. You need to throw some more variances of direction, basically. You need to change your behavior. And you don't I don't want to say you don't want to, but I could say that, couldn't I? Like if we're being honest with each other, like is the reason that you keep making left turns is because that's what you want to do. And it's easier to say you're doing something but not than to say you're just not doing something. You know what I mean? Do you? I mean, okay, so anyhow, do you see where I'm going with this? Left, 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 left. Okay, so what did we do? Well, nothing if this is what you want to do, right? Like we've done this before. I mean, I've had this conversation with you before where it's like if what you want is to be immersed in this circular situation that brings you a lot of drama and distress, you secretly enjoy that and the drama feels like it's kind of filling a need, then just say so, right? Just say so. Don't waste your time pretending that you're trying to change when you're just not. Because here's the thing I've noticed in working with a lot of you over the years. When you're ready to make a change, you just do it. You just do. It's almost instantaneous, to be honest with you, right? And you may spend 3 years talking about the same damn thing. But the truth is, you could have not spent those years talking about it at all, right? And you could have just woken up one day and made a change. Sometimes we really do protest too much. So, this is going to take being honest with yourself because maybe you are operating from a fear based mindset, but tricking yourself into believing that is the non fear based mindset that you're in, but it's just the way it is right now. What is the protection card? It's not really protection so much as it is boundaries. And what are boundaries? Boundaries mean that you decide that you're not going to entertain or be a part of specific energies anymore. And that is 100% on you. In a relationship, boundaries need communicated. So you have to tell people what your boundaries are. And then if they decide to respect them, you are in partnership with that person. They decide not to respect them, you're not in partnership with that person, right? You're just not. And then that's on you to make a decision. And if it's another left turn, that's fine. Who's to judge? But don't be surprised if in, you know, 30 days or so, you're right back where you started. Okay. So, man, I'm telling you, it'll be interesting to see what Monday's Coffee and Magic is like because these vibes are kind of bummers. They're kind of bummers. Okay. Says that some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. That's suspicious to me. Was it about feet? Because I haven't gotten um, any comments about my feet lately. All right. The next one's lavender. Traditionally, lavender as an herb is very soothing and relaxing, right? So, what do we think? I'm shuffling. I'm gonna shuffle the hell out of these. All right. You tell me when you're ready. I have the cards. Hello, Kit. Okay, so here's your lavender. Look at this. Love, the serpent, and birth and rebirth. So far, this looks more fun, right? It's promising, but let's see. Let's see for sure. Okay, so love, the serpent, and birth and rebirth. Now, what is this? Okay, I'm just going to have to relay this message because I've been hearing it for a minute now since I've been in Coffee Magic this morning. It's like something like the ancestors are angry. I don't know that this has anything to do with this card pull, but if that's a message for one of you, I don't know if that's very helpful. Um, it's not like a mom is mad vibe. It's like the ancestors are angry collectively. So I just had to say that. So hopefully for whoever that was for, that will be helpful. And let's continue. So love, the serpent, and birth and rebirth. Now, birth and rebirth is a cycle of energy for you. Okay. That means you're moving into a space where it's your energy, but a next iteration. Okay. The serpent is all about that Kundalini awakening, Kundalini energy. And a lot of people, when they think about Kundalini energy, think of sexual energy. And that's not necessarily wrong, but that's very limiting because whenever you say sexual, it's really difficult for us to release the societal imprint of what sex means, right? It cheapens what this energy actually is. This energy is vital life force energy, and it's a connecting of all of your sources so that you're actually in flow with the energy around you, right? If you think about it, everything, um, everything in actual nature has its own Kundalini energy that flows in cycles, right? We are often like incredibly blocked in that space with our cycles. We don't cycle naturally, right? So this is asking you to tap into that for yourself, right? The other thing is when you think of kundalini energy, or snake energy, I want you to think of truth. I want you to think of a knowing, of having all the information, of operating from a space of understanding a larger perspective. Okay. And then you have this. And this isn't um, about loving people. I just got a message from my family that there is an earthquake in Connecticut, and Jacinda saying the same thing. That's not normal. So there's that. Um, This is about shifting from fear-based into love-based energy. It's not about like loving people. This is the frequency that you are operating out of. Okay. So again, we've talked about this a lot, but I'll just like refresh you real quick. This means, right? This means that before you make a decision, you ask yourself, am I making this decision because I'm scared of what will happen if I don't? Or am I making this decision because I'm pushing forward an energy for myself and I'm excited, right? Like what's your motivation? Fear or heart-based energy? So again, for my lavender people, this is a hit for you on Kundalini energy. This is a hit for you on a new cycle for yourself. And this is a hit for you on fully moving yourself into that love based space and walking away from the fear based space and allowing yourself to truly see all of the information, the whole picture, to just allow yourself. This is also, I have to say, a very non action energy for this moment, which is annoying because I think I'm in this too, where it's like there's not an action point for you. It's like you're just kind of sitting here like this, right? And we don't like that because it feels like you're not doing anything. Can you accept the doingness of just being at this point and like not meddle with it? Like just hands up, right? It's like it's almost like in like Top Chef or whatever. Is it Top Chef? Iron Chef. I don't know, whatever. The timed chef competition where it's like you have a certain amount of time to do the things and then it's like, okay, time's up, hands off. You can't do anything else. There's nothing more to do, right? That's what's happening for you right now. Hands up. Just hands up. And I commiserate with you on how deeply irritating that energy is and I hope for all of us that it shifts after Monday. That's I'm putting that out there because I don't like it and I don't have any patience for it. Really had it with that. But, all good things. Ooh. What a day. What a day, my friends. So, anyhow, um, just want to touch real quick on what I said about the ancestors are angry. The first message I got when we started Coffee and Magic was the spirits are angry. And then it changed to the ancestors are angry. And I don't think it would be a bad idea to connect with your ancestors this weekend in whatever way that feels right for you. Beth is asking beneficial ancestors. That's an interesting question because it's it's less specific than that. If you think about it, all people who came before us are all of our ancestors. Okay. And if time doesn't exist, actually, let me back up. You know that theory about, I think it's a quantum theory about time and the idea that the future dictates the past and the present dictates the future. Do you see what I'm saying? Let me say it again. I'm sorry things are so weird right now. Are you feeling how weird it is right now? Anyway, the future dictates the past, and the present dictates the future. If the ancestors are angry, that means the future has upset them. So that means the action is here to resolve that. Does that make sense? I'm hearing that it's not an earthquake. That's what I'm hearing. I'm just hearing that it's about an earthquake. All right. Let me say it again. The future dictates the past, and the present, the future. If the ancestors are angry, that means the future is not pleasing them, and that means it's not pleasing you. The only way to help that is in this present moment. Okay? So, yeah. Ooh. Anyhow, here's what I'm thinking. On Mondays, Coffee and Magic, which is at 9, um, if you can get on here live, please try because I think we should probably have a moment of connecting our energies together on Monday. Maybe like a really brief meditation before we get into the cards. That I think that would be a good idea. Again, tapping into the ancestors, not from a place of fear, but from a place of power. The ancestors are angry, that means they need your help, right? If what you do now dictates the future, which affects the past. It feels very scrambled because linear time is being disproven for us in a way that's very unsettling. And we have to basically reorganize ourselves to be able to understand how to exist in a nonlinear time sphere. And that's okay. It's going to take a second, but we didn't have like that long to fuck around with it. So there's that. Um, but just kind of simmer on that for this weekend. Send some love to your ancestors as well. Remember this too about your ancestors. We don't fully understand this, right? We're just kind of working off of like the most information we can get at this time of like what ancestors even means. Um, it feels like it doesn't feel like specific people, it feels like collective, if that makes sense. So um, I'll tap into this throughout the day, obviously. You tap into, um, and you know, may the odds be ever in our favor. What a weird coffee and magic. What a weird coffee and magic. I feel like I have to speak quietly for some reason. Um, okay. So anyway, I'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend. If you'd like to send a donation for Coffee and Magic, you can do that by clicking the links in my profile on Instagram or TikTok. And make sure to follow. And I love you so much. Goodbye, friends.